If you're a professional and you're still shooting on batteries like this and you think there's gotta be a better option out there, there are, and that's what we're gonna do in this video today. I've got 3 pretty amazing battery options for photographers, videographers, cinematographers, and we're gonna see which ones are best, pros and cons, all things like that. First things first, V-mount. So the V-mount we're looking at today is the SmallRig X99. Now this is probably the most versatile and rugged V-mount battery ever made. We're gonna check this out. Next we have another interesting new option. The CB75 stands for cine base. I think this is supposed to be just a little bit more compact, a little bit more stripped down than a full rigged out V-mount experience. Let's see what this thing can do. Oh, and of course we've got this, the classic camera battery grip. This one's for Lumix. Just make sure the one you buy fits your camera. And while I bought the battery grip, SmallRig did send these out to me, their batteries, and so just want to disclose that, although this is a totally honest review of how I've been using these, and the only thing they really asked me was to let you know that their Black Friday sale is going on right now from the 20th to December 1st. So if you're watching this video when it comes out, check out. These are both like 20 or 25% off. I'll put the normal and the Black Friday prices in the video later. So when it comes to capacity, let's test out the battery grip first as our baseline. So the battery by itself in these Lumix cameras gives you about an hour of record time. So if you put a second one in this battery grip, you're gonna get about double that. So around 2 hours, got 100% increase, not bad. And this thing is pretty lightweight, coming in at about 236 grams for the grip and about 80 for the battery. And the whole camera is 800 grams. So not a huge weight investment and decent battery life. Next up, we've got the CB75. And in my testing, it seemed like over the course of that same hour that completely killed the battery grip battery, this thing went down about 15%, which means you're gonna get like 6 hours and 40 minutes of battery on this thing when just going USB-C into the camera, which is about a 640% increase over just that internal battery. Now this thing is a little bit heavier at over 500 grams, so not quite the weight of the camera over again, but a decent little extra heft on the bottom of your camera. And then the beast, the X99, or really any 99 watt battery would work. This thing is pretty huge. It actually, I've got it written down here. So this thing with the compact V-mount plate from SmallRig adds quite a bit of weight, over doubling the weight of the camera by itself, which is pretty crazy. But you get almost 10 hours of straight USB-C power delivery to your camera. So that's with the internal battery, like a 1000% increase. We've got 11 hours of straight recording. One battery of this with no additional accessories is gonna get you through almost the longest possible shoot days you'll be doing for anything. If you start hooking up all kinds of accessories like a monitor and a follow focus, electronic follow focus and stuff, this might give you some problems. But 10 hours of 4K 60 recording, 10 hours of USB-C power delivery, pretty incredible stuff, but you do pay for that in money, additional accessories, and weight. I also think that the build and handling is just as important when it comes to how these are mounted and how the actual handling of these things is in different situations. So the X99 has more ports, while this and the CB75 have dual C and D tap ports, which first off, between the two is super nice. Most batteries only have one each, but the X99 also has a USB-A, an 8 and a 12 volt DC port. Personally, I don't use those that much, but if you have those accessories that use those ports, then the CB75 with just 2 D-tap, 2 USB-C might be a little more limiting for certain things. And like we said before, the battery grip is just a battery grip, so no extra accessories. Kind of a bummer. So let's go over some of the pros and cons of the handling of these things in the real world. So I think the X99 is best for rigging up your camera for like cinema use. It's whether it's a tripod or handheld, but especially, you know, the monitor and all these additional accessories that you might need to power. It just is so versatile to have this mount back there. You know, I could power, a remote follow focus, a monitor, the camera itself, and some more additional accessories. Whatever you want, it's an option with this. And I do generally like the V-mount experience, you know, being able to sort of tuck it into your shoulder or use the extra pad from the compact V-mount rig that I occasionally use as well. But for a seamless experience, you need to always have the screen kind of flipped out on the side or use a monitor. So if you aren't using a monitor, you're kind of wasting the awesome flip tilt potential of screens like on the GH7 or these new S1 series of cameras. And while this V-mount has tons of great features and info displays and a light to help mount it easier as well, that super mega rugged design for like adventurer and doc filmmakers is a huge advantage, but it also makes the battery huge. And so, you know, maybe that's worth it, maybe not. It's just something to keep in mind. And keep in mind, there's no way to mount this battery directly to your camera right out of the box. You're gonna need something like the compact V-mount from Small Rig or a bunch of other options out there. On the other hand, the CB75 seems ideal for these cameras with flip and tilty flip screens, especially when used more stripped down for weddings and event videography, in my opinion. It's not terrible for like handheld shooting, but it feels a little weirdly balanced. I don't know, maybe it's just me. And another benefit is you don't need any additional accessories to mount it, unlike the V-mount. So whatever you need to put this on your camera, whether it's got a cage or not, is right in the box, and you just attach that base plate and then attach your cage or camera with the base plate that comes with the battery. It's really nice. And the build too overall seems great, but something in my brain just doesn't like this little gap between the camera and the base plate. Still, overall, really nice option, and I've been using it a ton for weddings and events. Really fast for weddings, and especially when you get the camera way up on the tripod, just tilting that screen back, it really works for me. And lastly, we have the Lumix Battery Grip. Now, obviously this thing was designed with photography in mind. So yeah, if you're doing photos or even horizontal videos, this is a nice option since we have the mirrored controls and grip. It also gives you a better grip, even when being held normally as well, where some people's pinkies kind of hang off. This is also kind of the most rugged setup in practice too, because while the X99 is mega rugged, is it really that rugged with the like ports exposed? I don't really know how that works with the cables. Do the cables have to be weather sealed? I don't know. But Lumix rates this grip as dust and splash resistant, just like their cameras, which have been pretty much bulletproof for me when it comes to the elements. And yeah, it's super seamless, you know? You just take off this little cover, remove this little screw in the grip, and you're good to go. And it doesn't really seem to loosen up much over time, but keep an eye on it just in case. I also think the battery grip for the hybrid shooters who want that extra battery life in video, but on other days or even the same days might be flipping over to photo or photo and video, and in those fast-paced situations don't have a need for extra cages and monitors and accessories. I think it's just kind of perfect for that use case. It also could be great for people that just already have a ton of those BLK22 batteries lying around, but still wants that extra reliability. And if you are a cage guy, there is a cage for the battery grip too from Small Rig, so obviously I'd love to test that out, but it really just goes to show that you don't have to sacrifice functionality to use that battery grip either, although so far I've been enjoying just the battery grip on its own. So let's look at the price here. Right now, the V-mount is looking like it's coming in at a price of $299. Usually it's more like $250, but remember, you need some kind of V-mount plate as well. So that's another $80. That's gonna get us back up to at least $330 for this setup, which isn't terrible since with just powering the camera, typically I'm finding I'm getting about 10 hours of 4K recording, which is a ton. The CB75 is another fantastic option for significantly less money, but it's looking like it's like 130 to 160 bucks depending on if it's on sale or not. And again, I think you get the base plate and mounting and the USB-C all right in the box, so you're good to go right away, no extra accessories. Sure, you've got less capacity overall, maybe like 5, 6, 7 hours instead of 10, but it's still pretty incredible, especially for like your B camera at a wedding. And then the Lumix Battery Grip, despite all of those benefits, it is kind of pricey at 350 bucks, and that's before the spare batteries, which when you get them from Lumix are 90 bucks a pop. And when the batteries are only giving you about an hour, hour and a half of continuous recording, you're gonna need what? At least 4 or 5 Lumix batteries to even rival those other two options. So you could easily be spending over 600 bucks. So for that price, you know, it doesn't sound as great. I wish they would have found a way to give it a little more functionality for video shooters. I don't know, tally lights, custom buttons, the forethought to make a fan inside of it for certain cameras and certain issues, the ability to put 2 batteries in, something along those lines. I don't know, even just put like a USB-C on it. I don't know, like, what would that even do? Strike that. But still, despite all that, I've had a really good experience with it so far, and I think it is a valid option for someone who wants just the most simple, stripped down, straightforward experience, and also does photos. If you do photos at all, you probably should just get it. Yeah, I would go for it, but it's certainly gonna cost you a pretty penny. And so yeah, that's pretty much my review on all these power options. Again, this is applicable for almost all modern cameras from all manufacturers, but of course the battery grip here is only gonna work for a Lumix. Find a battery grip that fits your own camera if you aren't on Lumix, or if you don't shoot the S1 series. There's battery grips for most of their cameras. As always, there are links to purchase those items down below and you know, other ways to help as well, like my links to FILMCONVERT, which also has a discount. But honestly, just liking my video, subscribing helps as much as anything. So thank you guys for stopping by. And if you did subscribe, I'll see you when I see you.